What's going on, everybody, and welcome to In the Tank Live with Keith Deyo and Hairston. I'm fired up. I hope you are too. I hope you had a great weekend because this weekend has been a holiday weekend, right, for us in the United States. And today I was thinking about what was I going to talk about on this Labor Day? And, many people are out there hanging out, having a good time with friends and family. And I said, you know what? We still got to jump on the tank. We still got to get out here and elaborate. And today we're talking about the story. What's going on, Rich? Good to see you, man. Kelly, what's going on? Kathy, what up, girl? See, I knew there was going to be some people on here. And so we're talking about the story. And I can tell you this, that one of the most important lessons that I ever learned was how to tell stories. And I think I was born with it, right? Because as a child, I was always that one that would exaggerate things. I would always elaborate. And if anybody said, hey, Aaron, tell me that one about, that event that you had the other day, or tell me about that game that you played in, or tell me about this, that, and other thing. And I would go on and on and on and on and on and tell stories. How many of you guys out there? Oh, awesome. Right on. What's up, Grant? Hold on. Here we go. Lewis, what up? What up? What up? What up? What up, everybody? And so storytelling, right? So how many of you guys are great storytellers, right? Just by some thumbs up, how many of you guys are great storytellers? And, that skill is great, especially in life, because I think that we collect stories our whole life, right? Whether it be stories that we've been through or a story that you were told or something that goes on and on and on and on as a legacy, right? Something that your great-grandparents told you or something that your grandparents told you or something you end up telling your children, right? Of the story when. What's up, Kevin? And so stories are very, very important. Matter of fact, they are the foundation of our memories. Right? It's the foundation of our memories. And that same principle gets applied to how we act and react to certain things, because the story that we tell ourselves about the certain situation is going to be the feelings that come up, right? Based on the story, whether it was a story that we loved, whether it was a story that we didn't like, right? Whether it was a story of pain and deception or struggle or pain of victory, right? You have all these different outcomes of the story. And so one of the things I was thinking about is, what question can I ask, right? That would really incorporate some really good thoughts and start to get a good vibe. And it was, what story are you telling yourself? Right? What story are you telling yourself? You may be in a point in your life right now where you're getting things just thrown at you left and right, and you don't know if you're coming or going, right? You're just reacting, right? You're like a sous chef in a very high-end restaurant with a lot going on, right? Or a diner at 2 a.m. when everybody's getting out of the clubs and everybody's just jamming, eating fries and disco fries and chicken sandwiches and things like that, right? So it's just crazy, 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 right? And so the story that you're telling yourself is very, very important. And so take, for instance, parenting, right? I think about when I was a child, how my parents parented, right? And the discipline, right? I used to get my butt whooped, but I deserved it because you know what? I was acting up. And so the story I would always tell myself is, well, you know what? If I do that, I'm going to get this result. And so as I grew older and I started becoming a parent myself, I was quick to say, well, you know what? I'm going to beat the crap out of my kids too, right? But that wasn't always the answer, because really it never made me stop doing what I was doing. I would just get better at hiding it, right? So it really didn't fix the problem. The problem was whether or not I believed that this was the right way of handling something, right? And so as we start to tell ourselves stories, we can easily talk ourselves out of taking risks, taking chances, right? Or exploring a new career or an opportunity, or even getting better, healthier. Who knows, right? That story that you tell yourself is like, you know what? I'm never consistent with things, or I can never do that. I don't have the education, or my mom never told me that I was able to do this, or my friends always made fun of me when I went out and did that, and I just didn't want to feel that pain anymore. And so what I also want to share with you is that based on the story that you tell yourself, you also can change the story. Right? You can change the story based on what you got in results. So you can look back at those stories and say, okay, well, what story am I telling myself when I'm going into this area? Right? Is it one of fear? Right? Was it one of misunderstanding? Right? What is the story I'm telling myself? Because I tell you right now, the people that are successful have found a way to tell themselves a story that they can believe in. Right? They're being very convincing to themselves. And so if you wake up in the morning and you start doing some meditation, which is what I do, right? I take a moment, 20 seconds, 30 seconds single day when I wake up, just be present in that moment and giving gratitude. The story that I'm telling myself is that today's a brand new day and that today hasn't even had to happen yet, right? So whatever I want to happen today is something I need to create, right? So I want to just chime in real quick. What was one thing that you told yourself in the past that helped you to push forward, right? What was one thing that you told yourself, what's going on? Wow, we got a lot of people on here. What is one thing that you told yourself that you believed in that helped you move forward? It could be one answer. It could be one little phrase, one word. But I want to get some input here. I want to see, are you telling yourself stories? And if you are, what was one thing that made you say, aha? You know, what was one thing that made you move forward? Because these are the stories that we need to continue to tell ourselves. It's not the story of the problem. It's the story of the solution, right? It's the belief in the solution. It's the belief in the direction moving forward, right? Because this is where it counts. Because we can get caught up in the story so much into the problem that we just keep reiterating and continuing to repeat the problem, instead of being creative and using that energy and effort and that mind power to start getting into the solution, right? What's the best that can happen versus what's the worst that can happen? And I learned that from a speaker that we had out there in Nashville. She talked about what is the best that could happen and answering that phrase, right, during that time of turmoil, stress, pain, whatever it is, or the story of challenge, right? That's the story of challenge. So what is one thing? Come on now, chime in here. Don't be shy. What is one word, one phrase? What was the story that you were telling yourself? Yes, everything is always working out for me. Awesome. That you can do it. This is for me. Amen. Right on. I love that, Aaron. Kathy says, I had to believe again that I am worth it, that I am a great person, that I can do this and stop sulking. That is huge. Huge. And I'm telling you, and you know this, it's not easy, right? It's not easy. When you have a whole lot going on right in your life, it's not easy to break out of those chains and say, you know what, hold on a second. I'm going to tell myself a story of freedom. I want to tell myself a story of abundance and belief and greatness, right? Because again, this is where the transition will start to happen, because what will happen is that you'll start to feel good, right? And when you start to feel good, now the actions you start taking are going to be in the actions of that good feeling, right? Think about it. Have you ever been able to take action in a very negative and not so good feeling? Probably not, right? And so this is what I started to learn for myself. I said, okay, well, what could I do that would help me to elaborate more into that area? What stories can I listen to? What books can I read? What videos can I listen to? And how can I create that a part of my day and my routine so that I continually get more stories? Because when we start to collect stories, we can actually trick our brain to believe in something we haven't achieved yet, but what we heard somebody else achieve. Also, Aaron talks about also asking himself, how bad does he want it? Yes, Lilia. Landmark, education, teachings, things like that, right? You start to put, start to put landmarks on things, right? You start to put memories of accomplishment. You know, who remembers the gold winners in the Olympics last year, or when we had the Olympics last, right? Who remember those winners, right? Who remembers those people? Those are stories of triumph. Those people worked their butts off to get where they were. And Kathy says, amen. I showed you that. Kathy, listen, we show each other, right? And she's grateful for our team and team to say, hey, stop. You are worth more than you know. And I think that's so amazing. And we need to say that to ourselves, guys. We need to start telling ourselves that story. When we get in the mirror and we're brushing our teeth and say, you know what? I love you. And you are capable of everything and anything that you ever wanted. You deserve it. Today is your day. You're going to create today, right? And whatever is going to happen on the outside is a reflection of how I act and how I respond. This is what's going to happen right now. I'm going to create it. And if I don't see it, then I'm going to change it right now. And I'm going to start it within me, right? That's the story. And if we start to do that, watch the magic that starts happening. I tell you guys, it's important to remember that because especially in times of challenge, right? For many of you, it's a day off today and you're, hanging out with friends and family and, too bad it's kind of a cloudy day today, but I think we can still make the best out of it, right? My grass is going to get some water if it rains. My garden's going to get some water. Shoot, we may have to just go out there with our swimming trunks on and just dance in the rain. I don't know, but we're going to make a great moment of it if it happens. We're going to make today great because it's a choice of ours. And so I want to encourage people that if they're in this challenge part of life, that it's there to give you a little resistance, to give you a test, right? to test your might, to test your ability to recall what it is that you were created to do, or recall something of great challenge that you overcame, right? Because the thing in life is always going to test you, right? Why not? Why not us? Why not test me? Let me know how I'm doing. Because, I mean, without challenge, how would you ever know? How would you be able to grade yourself and see where you need to go? And Kelly talks about the grace is in the grit. Yes, it's in the grit. Celebrate both the good times and the moments of growth. And see how she phrased that? The great times and the moments of growth. See, that's the thing, is being able to tell yourself the story that it's not about pain. It's about growth. It's about development. It's about resourcefulness. It's about being able to reach out to people and being vulnerable. See, I think that we all have a challenge with that, because whatever it is that we have inside of us, that pride, that confidence, okay, that posture, it comes from experience at times, most times, right? If you're able to tell your story and you're able to elaborate on your imagination, even if you never experienced it, you still can pose as that, because you've mastered that skill and you like the way it feels to be creative. So make sure that we choose words wisely. Make sure we choose the things that we focus on wisely, our thoughts in our mind. And if you don't have enough stories of triumph and achievement, get online. If you put in victory in YouTube, I guarantee you'll get over 1 million videos about victory, right? If you get on, I don't know, I love Audible. I love listening to books. It was funny. My son always asked me, Daddy, why you always got headphones in? At least one headphone in. And I tell him, I said, well, at least half of my head is getting what I do want in my ear, and the other half is getting what I don't want, right? Or what I don't know what that's going to get, right? So I like to keep in at least what I do want all times. And so become good at that. Become good at being resourceful, finding books of great battles that have been won. Think about all the things in life and all these amazing individuals that have created things like this, right? This smartphone. I'm sitting here in my bedroom, right? With a smartphone and a tripod, sitting in the chair, broadcasting live all over the world for free. I mean, who would have thought, right? Who would have thought? And there's definitely some ways that we can use this in an improper way and not empower other people, but there's also some great things we can do with it, right? But being creative, to be able to get on here, be vulnerable and say, hey, listen, I'm not perfect. And I'll never claim that I am, but I can tell you what, I am working on a better process every day so that I can be happy, right? That I can feel joy, that I can feel understanding, and that I can continue to change the story, because you know what? I heard a story yesterday, or I heard a story last week, or I heard a story this morning, right? That inspired me, that gave me belief. And Yolanda talks about sometimes when it gets really bad, she laughs and says, oh, this story is going to be good when you get on the other side of it. And there it is, Yolanda, using that leverage and believing that the story that you're telling yourself now, or the story that, see what y'all doing? You see this? This story right here. The story of being 4. Awesome. Amanda, what's going on, girl? Yeah, Aaron Pierce is saying, always feeding your mind, your body, and your soul. See, here's the thing. If we're not going to take ownership on the things that we do in life, who is? Who are we going to give that gift away to? Right? I mean, I tell you right now that if I'm not taking full responsibility for everything that I do and everything that I create in my life, then shame on me. Shame on me. This is the thing. This is the part of life that we must take ownership with. And it's all of it. All of it. And as those things come and challenge you, and as things come and say, hey, remember me? I want you to be able to tell yourself a better story. A story of triumph, of empowerment, of vision, of legacy. Because at the end of the day, your story will be told. And so how will that story unfold? Where will that story be told? Right? Who will tell it? And this is so important, guys and girls out there, right? On this week, we can create the most amazing week. We can create the most amazing afternoon if we want. Right? And for some other parts of the world, right? You can create the best morning or the best evening. It's our choice. And so as we start to tell ourselves stories, I want you to think about, does this story serve the purpose of greatness or serve the story of defeat? And that's it. And if it chooses the latter, then you know what? Choose a different story. Change it. Because you're the main character. You're the director, right? You're the one calling the shots. You can change it at any time. And as Eddie says, knowledge is power. It's potential power, actually, Eddie, because you still have to use the knowledge, right? So it's potential power if you know about it, right? But then you got to use it, you got to apply it, and you got to get to work, because that's what actually is going to create the results. And so for all those who have chimed in and really jumped into this podcast today or this video today, I thank you for being part of this In the Tank Live. Every single week we do these Monday through Friday to mastermind, to incorporate community. Because I believe that community is what changes the world. I believe community is what makes a difference about being alive every day. And that's what the world needs. More people becoming alive, feeling good about themselves, loving themselves, and more importantly, telling themselves the story of triumph and overcoming greatness in their lives so that others can learn that same lesson. God bless y'all. We'll see you tomorrow in the Tank Live with Keith Deyo and Aaron Hairston on Take Action Tuesday. Getting into it. Have a great Labor Day, guys, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.